Hello and welcome to Ware Gaming Weekly. My name is Nick, and over there is Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Over there is Josh. Hi, Josh.
Yeah, because we are in the exact same room.
Exact same room,
Because
3,000 miles away.
yeah, exact same and 3 hour time difference. How are you, Josh? What's new?
What's new? And lots of new stuff. We have split the podcast in two, which is pretty new.
Yeah, we have.
We now do Weird Gaming News on top of Weird Gaming Weekly. That way, if you just want the news, you go over there and you watch our, shorter news segment. And then if you want more of us, you can come over to Weird Gaming Weekly. Uh, as far as me, I'm doing good and lots of news. It's a great news year. Uh, it's
It is.
finally starting to roll, which is why we brought turned it back on.
No, I mean things have been good. Things have been looking up. Just excited to talk about video games, honestly, because it's something that I enjoy doing
Yeah,
a lot. I've been trying to write and stuff like that, but in terms of everything else, this is where it's at. I've been watching a lot of movies. So I've been doing this thing on Instagram. I have a couple different shticks that are my Instagram things. So the first one is actually the thing I'm most proud about. It's not gaming related, so I apologize. It sort of is, if you want to call it that. But it's called. I have a weekly game called Nicktoons because I'm clever, and so I really obsess about music trivia in terms of I love to play. I'm not particularly smart when it comes to it, but I love to play. But what I love to do more is talk.
that
So
is very
I have. So I randomly decided one day to host a HQ like show called Nicktoons, where I give you 10 songs and you have to guess what the 10 songs are. I give you like 10 to 15 seconds depending on how recognizable I think the song is, and then people respond to my stories. So I post them on my stories on Instagram, and then people respond to them, and whoever gets the most correctly wins. And usually there's some sort of gimmick to it, like you get 5 points if you guess the song correctly, and you get 5 points if you guess the artist correctly. And then I usually give you some sort of extra, like, to make it harder for people who are smarter at music than I am, like what year did the album come out, or some sort of trivia factoid. So the one I did most recently is one I'm particularly a fan of, is a TRL edition of Nicktoons, and that one was a lot of fun because TRL, I know, I know I walk around posing like a '90s kid. I was a '94 baby. I barely knew '90s, but you and our sister,
yeah,
did a really good job of making sure I knew good music. And one of my
yeah.
earliest
The best
memories,
decade.
yeah, one of my earliest memories is watching. Um, I I don't know for sure
Total
that
Request Live.
yes, that's not the point I was getting. Um, I don't know that this is the first song I had heard from them, but or the first video I'd ever watched. But my earliest memory of is seeing the music video "Warning" by Incubus, and I remember seeing that on TRL. And so anyway, so it was really fun to go back and watch a bunch of clips and see young Britney Spears, and then see older Britney Spears, and see the differences in that, and seeing NSYNC and all this stuff. And I'm like, this is like the height of music, in a way, a bit like. Plus, you have like Limp Bizkit, who's like peaking, and you have like Sum 41, and all the era of that brings me comfort. So anyway, so it was a lot of fun to do the
Yeah,
songs, and
yeah, because there's nothing more comforting than Fred Durst.
okay, that's not yeah, okay, that's fair. Um, so
Anyway,
so there's that, and I've been watching a lot of rom coms because that's my other thing on Instagram is I'm ranking rom coms. So right now, number one is 13 going on 30, but we'll talk about that later. For now, do you want to talk about like what we've been playing? Because you don't want to know what I've been listening to, and you probably don't want to know what I've been watching. So let's talk about what we've been playing. What are
before
you?
I talk about what we've been watching, I've had so we me and mom we were always into watching the Arrowverse shows.
Mm-hmm.
We watched Arrow, Flash, Supergirl. We didn't watch Legends or anybody else, but we liked those three specifically. Um, but right when those seasons were starting, where they did Crisis last year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, we were in the middle of moving out of the house,
Right.
and so we pretty much never got to start on most of those um, shows, and now now we're just now getting started. We got through most of Arrow up to Crisis. So we're trying to watch all the shows up to Crisis, and then watch all the Crisis in order.
So you still haven't watched Crisis?
No, we still haven't watched Crisis. We've watched Arrow up to Crisis, and we've watched Supergirl up to Crisis in the last like 2 weeks, and now we're watching Flash. Now we got to watch Flash up to Crisis, and then we're going to be watching the Crisis. So I'm excited to finally get to that.
You still haven't seen the Smallville thing yet?
No, no, but it was spoiled for me because of Greg.
Yeah,
Greg spoiled it, but it wasn't a plot point.
No, but that was the only part of Crisis I cared about, to be honest. It's like, but
yeah, and I'm kind of disappointed about what I heard, but
it was so you heard about it, but you just haven't seen it.
Yeah, correct. I haven't seen it.
Well, I mean, what you heard is correct, but seeing it still hits you in that, like, it almost forgives what happens. Anyway, so you're catching up on the Flash now? Is that the show you're on now?
And I totally. So yeah, I'm catching up on the Crisis, and I did a total rewatch of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and let me tell you, like, if you haven't watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, you owe it to yourself to watch this show. It is so good. It's the first episode is kind of a kid, which there's an article. I know that we're supposed to talk about Ware Gaming, but sorry.
We can talk about whatever we want.
There's an article from the Verge that says, yes, Avatar: The Last Airbender's on Netflix, but don't start with the first episode.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't even click on it.
And I read through the article. I'm like, no, don't start. It told you to start with the episode about Zuko. That's like in the end of season 2.
No.
I'm like, why would you? That spoils his whole arc if you watch the end of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I saw the post. I saw a post about that, and I was just like, this isn't freaking the Clone Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars came out in the wrong order, and that's why. But anyway, so watch Last Airbender. I mean, it's got so many moments that like hair raising, like goosebumps.
Now I have a question for you.
There's something about this show that they were perfect about.
Yeah. So I have a question for you because I was talking to my coworker about the Avatar yesterday.
The Avatar.
So did you watch Avatar? How old were you when it came out, and did you watch it when it came out?
I don't know exactly when it came out. I didn't watch it until I was an adult.
Okay.
Because I didn't watch it as a kid. I watched it. I probably first saw it around 2010, 2011.
Okay. So yeah, you would have because I think I watched it as it came out, and I definitely
because as someone growing up and outside looking in, I was never a big anime person, but it was also a Nick cartoon. And I was like, well, I wasn't going to watch that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. At some point, I just did, and it for a Nickelodeon show, for a cartoon, for an anime, it is one of my favorite shows on television.
Well, I was trying to talk to my coworker about it because she's like, everyone's been talking about it right now. Should I see it? And I was like, well, I think you should, but just to give you an idea, but I also don't know like what you like. Like, I'm not going to say everything's for everybody, but I was like. What I told her, and maybe I'm wrong, was that at the time it came out, it was one of the most like intelligent shows that was still marketed towards kids that didn't treat us like we were kids, for the most part.
Yeah.
Like there was fun things, and there was animals that you could sell as stuffed animals and stuff like that. But I mean, it was like
it's got a deep and like it gets dark.
Yeah.
And heavy. And I really appreciated it about that episode, or about that show.
So, Yeah, so I just told her that like there's part of like the nostalgia aspect of it, but there's also like it has a really good message and story. Um,
Yeah.
so
I
she
don't
said
have
she might.
nostalgia tied to it because I watched it as an adult.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, but anyway, as far as that's all I have to talk about as far as watching. But as far as games, there's been a few things. You know, it's been kind of a slow year
Hmm.
for many reasons. But the first couple months of the year there was no big releases, nothing. Nothing was happening, and so it's been a good year for catching up on backlogs or going back and replaying games. So last year I bought Ace Combat 7 and played. We talked about that last year. It came with the PS2 game Ace Combat 5,
Skies unknown.
and so no, that was Ace Combat 4 was Skies Unknown. Ace Combat 5 was the Unsung War.
Ace Combat.
Uh,
Ace Combat 4 was Skies Unknown.
yeah, I think.
I don't know. I'm
Now
looking
you
this
got me
up.
confused.
I'm,
The first game I played was Ace Combat 4,
yeah.
Skies Unknown.
No, it's
That
Ace
first game I
Combat
played. The first
7.
Ace.
So it's Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown. It's Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies.
Shattered Skies. See, their subtitles don't even matter. Anyway, the Unsung War is the only one that actually makes sense. But anyway, so played Skies Unknown last year, right?
Mm.
And then I had Ace Combat 5. I downloaded it and played it at the beginning of the year, and it totally holds up. Even for it's been up-resed for
PS4.
PS4, but like I mean, it plays great. It was entertaining, and totally a solid entry in the Ace Combat series. So I had fun with that, and then played replayed Horizon Zero Dawn on Ultra Hard. Um, had a blast. That's another one of those like I love Ace Combat or not Ace Combat Horizon Zero Dawn.
Mm.
I think the story is highly underrated. People who love the game always like downplay. There are certain aspects I totally get. Like syncing is bad in a lot of places,
Yeah.
and if anybody who's not the main cast or main characters, the NPCs that aren't the main ones
Mm.
are typically pretty rough.
Yeah. I remember that a lot.
There are things to improve about Horizon Zero Dawn, and I absolutely believe they will. But I think it's a fantastic game, and the story is highly compelling. It's really interesting how they put the world together, and I can't wait to see what they do with the sequel. Um, my big gripes about it were they had these unlocks like for face paint and you could change the color of the focus, which is the thing she wears on her ear, and there were like just different things that you could do, but you had to beat it on ultra hard to get them,
Mm.
and it didn't make sense to me why I have to beat this game on ultra hard to get face paint,
Yeah. I
or
guess I'm wondering if it's because it didn't have much else to give you. Like, what else are we gonna give you? So here's some sort of incentive.
but I'm not gonna. But after playing the game on ultra hard, new game plus, I wasn't gonna play the game again because that stuff wasn't there to begin with.
Yeah.
It came with the new game plus update. So
yeah.
I didn't. There's no point to go back. It should have been like, hey, if you play it on New Game Plus or something, you can use these paints or whatever because the paints were kind of neat. But it just felt like an empty reward. Like, well, I
Mm.
mean, these are cool to play around with photo mode, and I did for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But after that, I beat the game twice. I was done with the game. I was going to go back and play. And luckily they didn't do anything, but it just seemed like something that you should pick up in the world. Or
I missed that game. I should probably try playing it again. I've kind of been in I don't want to say a gaming funk, but nothing's particularly interesting me right now.
Yeah.
I have some games I've been playing, but With Horizon, I'm definitely excited to see where that goes. And the couple weeks ago they did say that it's going to be the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be a pretty huge game.
Yeah.
And they've talked about like co-op and stuff like that. Those phrases that I hear give me like a minute of like I don't know how I feel about that, but I trust them
Co-op.
to do.
Yeah.
I trust them to do a good job. So
Yeah.
I think they can only go up. I mean, I guess they can go wrong if they are over ambitious, but I don't think we're gonna have that issue here.
Sure. What games have you been playing?
Most recently, I beat Uncharted 4 again. I replayed that.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
I was going to. So what I was originally going to do is I was just going to pick it up and see if I can't try and get the platinum. And then
Hmm.
I saw that I didn't have the trophies for completing the game, which I know I've played the game before. And after beating it again, I realized what I didn't do the first time is I didn't let the credits finish. Which to be fair, I always let the credits finish. I always watch all the credits, or at least leave them rolling. I don't try to skip because I try to respect the developers and stuff. So somehow I must have just clicked out of it or whatever, and I never popped those trophies for playing it. So so I had to replay it because what I was really just going to do was go into the chapters and try to perfect and platinum the game. And so anyway, so I did. I played through it again, and I like the game a lot. I think visually it's the best out of the four games, obviously, because it's the PS4 and
5.
oh yeah, four mainline games. Six actually, six. If you want to talk,
6. Oh, talk about the card game.
no, the golden. Oh, seven. I was talking about Golden Abyss on PS Vita.
Oh, I was talking about Golden Abyss. What were you talking about? Oh, Lost Legacy.
Yeah. No, and the card game is another game a free game that came out to the Vita. Anyway, no, it's a very pretty game. It's a very well made game, obviously, and it obviously took a lot of stuff from The Last of Us into it in terms of mechanics and um, maneuvering around the world a little bit, but the UI especially. The thing that was the thing that I after finishing the game that I realized is that I still don't feel like it's a memorable game. Like I liked what happened, I liked the story, um, but when I think of Uncharted, I still
Yeah.
think of Uncharted 2, and the big set piece moments in there, and the blue stuff that blew up and like that turned people crazy and stuff like that. Like, I mean, the nice thing about Uncharted 4 is that there's not a moment because in all the other Uncharted's there's like a supernatural moment that happens and everything gets weird. And then Uncharted 4, there's not that. You don't have to fight a bunch
Oh,
of
nice.
you don't have to fight a bunch of undead pirates or anything like that. You just finish the story. Um,
Yeah.
um, and I mean, I think it was trying to do some interesting things, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. I saw recently someone saying that it was the best Uncharted, and it might be the most polished, but I don't think it's the best. So,
Which one do you think's best?
Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't played 4, so I can't attest. I haven't played 4. I played a little bit of Abyss, and I didn't play any Lost Legacy.
Okay, yeah, I
But,
haven't played Lost Legacy, but I've played all of the others. Um,
but I definitely think 2 was the peak. I think the controls after 2 got worse. I don't know that the stories got worse,
no,
but
I mean,
I don't think they got better.
but I think a lot of it has to do with how good it was for at the time it was doing it, and the story, specifically the story aspect. Like, because Uncharted 1 was good, but Uncharted 2 just made everything click very well, and it was like a really well paced game and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I think the problem with Uncharted 4 is that they give you moments of open worldness a little bit, not open world, but open area, that kind of that encourage you to explore, but kind of ruin the pacing of the energy of the game. Like the energy is like, oh, we're running away from the bad guy. Let's look around these ruins for an hour to find all the discoverable treasures or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was part of the reason. I was also trying to use the guides to get all the treasures, and then I felt like I wasn't really playing the game. I was just moving around. So I decided to stop and just enjoy the game. Anyway, so I played that.
Yeah.
Most recently, I downloaded Call of Duty World War II because it's one of June's free games on PS Plus, and I played the opening chapter in that, and I really enjoyed it. I almost quit immediately because the opening sequence is storming Normandy, and because it's trying to tout realism, there is a bunker that's you're being shot at. Everyone remembers playing Medal of Honor Frontline and storming Normandy and getting shot at. Well, you can't move from cover to cover and not die. Like I died at least 20 times trying to storm the beach of Normandy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how anyone else to do it. I managed to do it. And I don't really know how. I just lucked out, I guess. But I almost quit because I'm like, no. If this is like,
Now,
one shot, one kill.
One of them soldiers
Huh?
would have said, "You know what? This beach was too hard to take. Let's go home."
Okay, well, all right. I get it. But still. Anyway, but I really like the gunplay feels really good. I don't remember. I don't know all of the the weapon names or whatever, but like the way it feels shooting them, is good, and I like the feedback, and then the response, like the sound response and haptic response. The story, I don't really know. I mean, it's World War II, and you're just a guy of and a band of brothers sort of thing. Obviously, it's a 2-year-old game now, so most people probably played it, but it looks really good. It makes so far, except for maybe Red Dead Redemption 2, it makes my PlayStation get so loud. So I couldn't even hear it. I couldn't even hear the game. I had to blast it, and it was too much.
Wow.
Let's see. Other than that, this year has been. I mean, I don't want to say it's been bad for games necessarily. I just haven't felt compelled to play anything. Like, I think the only new to this year game we've played, is Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fantastic.
Final Fantasy VII was great.
Do you want to talk about your experience playing it? Because
Sure.
I mean, mine's different than yours, mainly because I've never played the original.
Sure. I mean, I tried to play the original way back in the day. I think I finally got. I wanted to get it when it got out, but they wouldn't get it for me because I remember Uncle Jeff getting it.
Oh yeah.
He got it, and finally I got it. But I think it wasn't until PS2 era that I got it, and I played through I think Midgar was the first disc, and when I put it in the second disc, there was an error and it wouldn't read, and so I never got past the first disc. But I did play up all the way through the Midgar portion many times because it was very good, and then. I finally, it was the PS4 era that I was able to finally beat the whole game, and I did that, and I platinumed it, and it was great. So playing the remake, I only beat the original probably in 2016 or 2017. I platinumed it with all the. Or using the speed up.
Yeah.
Cheat. That was so good. Like that game felt so much better being able to go at 3 times the speed. Cause I mean, PS1 games are slow. I mean,
Yeah.
going back and playing like Pokemon Red and Blue
Well,
is
a lot of
hard
the
to do.
gamer people that I listen to, gamer people, have said that like that's right now pretty much the only way to play those games anymore. Is just use the triple speed, like make sure you
Yeah,
read the dialogue and all that stuff because you want to get the story. But like it just it just works better.
yeah. Um, so as far as like obviously no spoilers for anything, but um, as far as a remake, I thought they did a really good job of putting it together, bringing the characters into a modern setting, um, uh, giving character to
All of them.
NPCs that didn't have any. Like some of the main people you run with just were barely characters. They were just there. The main party was the only real characters. It was Cloud, Barrett, Tifa, Red 13, and
Aerith.
Aerith. And so the side characters didn't matter. And so they did a good job of bringing that together, giving characters to some of the enemies, Rude and
Reno.
Reno, and then almost giving them likable characters too, like likable personalities. And overall, I was just very impressed. It was a beautiful game. There was even some instances where they brought in some what looked like pre-rendered backgrounds, which I don't know was a limitation or a callback, but it looked like they could have pulled it straight from the old game because the old game looked good because they used the pre-rendered backgrounds.
Yeah.
Uh, so there was a couple instances where you could tell like the background almost looked like a painting.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah.
But what were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I didn't have really. I think I've tried playing 7 once, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, I wasn't like whatever, but it was just like I got lost and all the stuff, and I was just like, I'm good. Um, I had like like we had talked many times while playing it, and I had like the most like turn on a game I've had where I was really not enjoying it when I first started playing. With the combat system was a little confusing to me. I didn't play the demo, so I didn't really mess around with it. I just wasn't having it, and I was really frustrated with the game for most of the first like 5-6 chapters. I was like, I feel like I'm dying at things that I shouldn't be dying at, I remember saying once it made me feel like a bad gamer.
Yeah,
And I don't know when it clicked, but eventually it did, and I suddenly like as soon as I figured out what was wrong with my playing style or whatever, I was like, I had so much fun. I had more fun with this game than I've had fun and than I've played. Blah, blah, blah. I've had more fun with this game than a game I've played probably since God of War. Um,
Persona 5.
um, yeah, well, I played God of War after Persona 5.
Oh,
Uh, you didn't because you played
yeah,
more Persona 5 than I did. I mean, I love Persona 5, but I just mean like, but yeah, that's
anyway,
my point. Is yeah, I had so much fun with it. I thought, like you said, the characters were interesting. The story was good. Um, a lot of people said, complained that there might have been some fluff or some side stuff that I didn't like, but um, um, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I agree that it was a really good game. It's so far the best game I've played in 2020 for sure. Though that is because we haven't picked up Persona 5 Royal yet. Um, but with The
yeah,
Last of Us coming out and Ghost of Tsushima, I think that our plates are going to be pretty full. So
yeah. I think so too. I can't wait to play Persona 5 Royal because I've heard nothing but good things about it from people who loved the original Persona 5. So nothing but excitement. But I know when I played Persona 5 originally, I put 120 hours into it, and then immediately hit New Game Plus. I didn't even get up. I didn't get a drink. I hit New Game Plus and played it again,
Yeah.
and put another 80 hours into it.
Hmm.
So I know for sure I will love that game. But that's a game I'm gonna have to wait and find that gap. Like the beginning of the year would have been great,
Hmm.
but it came out 2 weeks before Final Fantasy VII, and that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah. If it had
So
come, like, if for some reason it knew that the world was going to turn sour, if it came out like the
yeah,
day of quarantine, then I would have been like, here we go, play. Um,
yeah. But
um,
instead, I think Animal Crossing and Doom
yeah.
kind of
Well,
got
apparently,
that
the
crown.
NPD reports said Doom wasn't even the top 20 most played games of March. It was Animal Crossing and I don't know. I don't remember hearing what the other ones, but like it wasn't.
Yeah, I did hear that. I find that weird because everybody was talking about Doom for like a minute, but
Maybe
like
that's because it was only a minute. Um, I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, people really love that game. I don't know. But yeah. So one other game I want to talk about that I've played, and then we can move on to our topic. And of course, if you have more games to share as well. But
yeah.
um, I actually played for the first time. Uh, I didn't beat it. I didn't complete it. I think I'm done with it. But Breath of the Wild. Um,
Oh, really?
and I only bring that up because I had talked about either on the show before or just with you that I was always afraid to play Breath of the Wild because I was afraid that it was going to actually be better than Horizon Zero Dawn. Or because that was the big comparison at the time. And
Yeah,
now,
Horizon got a lot of the short end of the stick because Breath of the Wild came out and blew people away.
yeah, I mean, and it it's a really good game. I can tell it's a really good game. It's everything that people have said it is. It is obviously like completely open. You could run to the end of the game if you want to as soon as the world opens up. Like, um, it is a game that completely lets you do whatever you want within reason. Um, it has. It was also right after I played Final Fantasy VII, so going from a almost strictly linear game to completely open game was kind of refreshing at the time. I probably put about
Yeah.
10 hours in the game. Obviously, there's so much stuff to do. And I really enjoyed exploring. The thing that I didn't really enjoy about it, which is what other people love about it, and I get it, and I don't think it's I don't think it's bad. I think it's just not for me. Is because it's so open. Unless you ask it for directions, I mean, unless you like try to, there's like not really a clear crit path, and it's really easy to get distracted along the way. And in other games, that's fine, but I think because it's so open, and it's not leading you, it's not hand holding you. I almost like this is almost like there's a paralysis of choice, but also it's not clear sometimes where I should go. Like there's a waypoint, but oh, you have to. There's not a line that you need to follow. It just tells you where you need to be, and you got to figure out how to get there. And so I might go down a path and fight enemies I've never fought before, which is fine. But
Hmm.
there's no. But all the enemies have different ways you're supposed to fight them, and I die instead of figuring out how to kill them. And I'm like, oh well, because sometimes it tells you how to beat things. Like it'll train you sort of as you play. Like,
Hmm.
oh, I need to pay attention to this, that, or the other thing. But when you just walk into the forest and see this monster for the first time, you've not been trained yet on how to fight it. And so I just die, or just, and then if I didn't if I didn't save correctly, then I get sent back, a while. And so it's just um, it was enjoyable, and doing the shrines and doing these things were enjoyable, but it just wasn't enough to be like, I want to spend more time. I spent the time I wanted to in there, and I think it's a really great game. I don't really have an interest to finish it. So, but
Cool.
I'm glad other people love it. I can see why.
Yeah.
Just the first.
Yeah. Well, at least one of us got to experience it. we've heard about it for years now. Obviously, didn't it win Game of the Year? Or
Oh, for sure.
but anyway, so I'm glad one of us got to experience it. I always thought it got a Nintendo bump, but that's also because I've never been drawn to complete a
Hmm.
Zelda game. Like I played several hours of Twilight Princess. I've played the original The Legend of Zelda multiple times, trying to get into it, and it just they just don't speak to me, and they're not my kind of game.
Yeah, and that's okay. Is there a game that has become your kind of game?
There
Okay.
is, and it is called Slay the Spire.
You said that with such
Um,
passion. You're like,
this
slay
game,
the spire.
passion. Um, so Slay the Spire, I'm not exactly sure how long it's been out, but I know it came to Switch. I think earlier this year in February, or was it last year?
I don't know.
I've heard a lot about it, and typically it wouldn't be my kind of game because it's a roguelike. And if you don't know what a roguelike is, it basically means you do a certain thing, like you play the game until you die, and then you start all the way back over. Um, and in that time, um,
So, Slay the Spire came
you
out in late 2017. It was released for PlayStation 4 in May 2019 and Nintendo Switch in June 2019, and Xbox One in August 2019. There is an iOS and Android version planned for 2020. Anyway, continue.
so if you die, you start all the way back over to the beginning, and then you have to do it again. But every time you go through, you pick up either money or new things to get you further down the road. And so Slay the Spire is a card game, and it's basically a card RPG kind of thing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so there are four, I think there's four different classes, and each one has its own like special like attributes. And as you go on, you select a path on this map, and you have to defeat bosses, and you defeat enemies and bosses, and find different like secrets and stuff along the way until you get to the end of the floor. I think they call it a floor, and you fight a boss. And then once you fight the boss, you go to the next one, and as you go, you pick up artifacts that give your cards different strengths or give you like healing bonuses. Um,
Yeah.
and that goes on until you die, and then you start over, and then some
Hmm.
as you do, you unlock cards that will show up on your next run. Um,
Okay.
so um,
So some things do carry over. It's not like a complete wipe.
well, so
Um.
your card deck is wiped every game, and you start off with the
Okay.
basic classes deck of cards, which are usually like 10 or 15 cards in the deck. And as you go, you collect cards in the run that you can use throughout the to do different things as far as attacks or um, buffs or debuffs, um, or just different actions it'll do. And you'll build a huge deck up to like 30 or something odd cards, and then the strategy becomes like taking cards in and out of your deck, like having cards removed from your deck. Um, I don't want to get that nitty gritty into it, but it's
Sure. Sure.
it's fantastically fun. Roguelikes typically don't speak to me because I hate the feeling of losing all my progress. But I think for a
Yeah.
card game, it makes more sense because every time you start a new game or like a new board game, you start at the beginning, like Risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, so yeah, that's a really interesting way to put it. So it's like, or Hearthstone or anything. Like you got to start it all over again,
right, and
no matter what.
and the runs are fast enough that I don't feel like it's wasting my time, and I'm getting a little better. I can't get past the third freaking boss, like, and it's not, and the bosses aren't always the same, and so it's all like procedurally generated. So the floors are different, like layouts, and you'll have different like. It'll show you what type of encounters you're going to see throughout the whole floor, and there's like lines and stuff. It's really cool. Um,
I was gonna say. Uh, I've been playing this game called Round Guard. And Round Guard is like a Peggle clone roguelike.
okay,
So it does sort of the same thing. I mean, the gist is it's Peggle, so you're trying to knock out a bunch of things,
bounce the
and
balls.
but you have yeah, and you have three different characters you can choose from, like a wizard, a brute, or whatever. And you go down this, map, and it tells you what is in each layer that
Mhm.
you're going to go into.
Yeah.
And you can, like, in this, at least in this one, you can kind of choose which way you're going to go. Some paths are easier than other paths, and then and then you get all the way to the end. And when you move over to the next, like, once you finish it, you have to start over, but you get new rules for each world. Anyway, I don't know. So it sounds a little similar to that.
Yeah. And so like you'll take damage on each like encounter or whatever, and then you pick up artifacts that'll be like after at the end of every combat heal 6 HP, or
Mm-hmm.
anytime you finish a turn and you didn't get a block, get any armor or something, it'll add armor to you automatically, or different things like that. Now I do wish it wasn't completely roguelike. I would like to see what's past floor number 3. I wish there was a way to augment your deck at the beginning, and they give you every time you start a run, it gives you like a few different options. Like a lot of things like you can get an extra card if you pay 100 gold, or you can get an extra artifact, but you're going to take damage, initial damage, or you're going to lose your max HP. And so there's like risk reward kind of stuff.
Sure.
I just wish um, it was a little bit more forgiving in the sense that I just want to get further in the game. But I'm
Yeah.
still enjoying the
Now,
heck of playing it. And right now I've been focusing on one character. I played through as each of the characters once, and then now I'm doing character by character. To now I'm trying to completely max out the first character, and then I'm going to move on to the other characters because all of them have their own play styles and different.
now, what are you playing it on?
So that is the interesting thing. So I got the PC up and running, so we could do the show.
Mm,
Installed the solid state drive and all that great stuff. Um, and I've been thinking about Xbox Game Pass because you and I don't own an Xbox, so it's never been one of those things like,
right.
man, I wish I had Game Pass. But I do have the XCloud beta on my phone, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
good. But it's on my phone, and so I don't like playing
Right.
major games on my phone, and there's still a bit of a lag that is even on really good Wi-Fi. I think it's still noticeable. So, um, but since I had the PC, I was like, well, maybe I'll give this XCloud a try. But it's like $16 a month for the uh, ultimate uh, uh, Xbox Gold membership that has ultimate Game Pass and Xbox uh, Games of Gold or whatever. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I thought about doing it for the 1 month for $1, and then I found out that you can get Game Pass on PC for $4.99 a month. I was like, oh, well, I don't even have an Xbox. It doesn't make sense for me to pay $16 or $15 a month when
Sure, sure.
I could pay $4 a month and have access to whatever Game Pass is on PC. And so, Slay the Spire is on Game Pass. And Game
Oh,
Pass
nice.
so far is really like compelling. I played a couple different games on it. Um, they've got the Age of Empires remastered,
Mm-hmm.
the original and Age of Empires 2. Turns out I suck at Age of Empires 1, so I downloaded it because I loved 3 back in the day, and I just really enjoy RTSs, like Civilization and
Not me.
Age of Empires 3. So I was like, well,
End game, End War. I remember End War.
yeah, I wasn't as big a fan of End War. It was a little weird, but um, RTSs on consoles just don't work. I don't think because you don't have as
Mm-hmm.
much control. Anyway, so I downloaded Age of Empires. I couldn't beat it. I couldn't play for more than like 30 minutes on the easiest difficulty against one opponent on the largest map. Like I just couldn't do it, and I was like, you know what, this is not even fun anymore. So I deleted that, and then I downloaded Age of Empires 2. But while that was downloading, I'd already downloaded Slay the Spire.
And you
And
got your
I
going.
got hooked on that.
Now, are you playing mouse and keyboard? Do you have a controller that you can use?
So I think I can control it because on the XCloud beta on my phone, I can connect my PS4 controller and play it with that.
Oh, cool.
So I assume I can do the same because I could connect my controller to the PC. I could do it with the Epic Game Store, and I could do it with Steam. So it works on those. So I can only assume it works on Game Pass as well, or the Xbox on PC. But I haven't played a game that needs it yet because Age of Empires again is a RTS. You need a mouse and keyboard.
Right.
Age of Empires 2, mouse and keyboard, but I didn't play it. Also, what else did I download? I haven't played everything I've downloaded. Oh, I downloaded Ape Out.
Oh yeah.
But
I've never played the Ape
I haven't played it yet. And then I downloaded Ori and the Blind Forest. That one will definitely be a controller.
Yeah.
That one and Ape Out.
I actually played a lot of that game.
I got Ori and the Blind Forest, Slay the Spire, Undertale. I've heard nothing but good things about Undertale. So
yeah,
that one's on here as well. So a lot of neat games.
Yeah. Well,
I'll definitely be trying out the more so if I can pull myself away from Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire. Yeah, well, keep us informed on how that goes, especially for me, because like you said, like we don't really play a lot of Xbox games. I think I picked up Gears of War 4 for 2 seconds over my friend's house that I'm house sitting for him, or I'm watching his space, and I played Gears of War 4 for like, I don't know, an hour, and I didn't love it, but yeah. So keep us informed. Now, Josh, I have a question for you.
Okay.
There are 8 pills.
Okay.
That you have. Which of these 2 pills would you pick? I'm going to read them off for everybody.
Okay.
So the pill number 1 is Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a PS5 launch title. Pill number 2, of course, the whole thing is like you can only have 2. Which ones do you want to take? So you could have Horizon Zero Dawn 2 is a PS5 launch title. Uncharted 5.
And this is all PlayStation related, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Uncharted 5, where you play as Cassie, Nathan Drake's daughter. Pill number 3 is the Ape Escape games are remade.
Spoilers.
Well, that's your fault. Anyway. Number 3 is the Ape Escape games are remade with as much care as Crash and Spyro got. Number 4 is God of War 2, with the story revolving around Egyptian gods. Number 5 is Spider-Man 2, with Miles Morales in the lead role. Number 6, The Last of Us Part 2 DLC, where you play as Anna, Ellie's mother. Spoiler. Number 7, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale reboot, except it has as much care as Smash Ultimate. And number 8, Jak and Daxter 4, featuring a gigantic open world near the size of GTA 5's open world. So 8 different pills. Which 2 are you choosing?
8 pills. Well, there are only 2 options here.
Okay.
That make any sense. That is pill number 1, without a doubt, with a bullet. It's Horizon Zero 2. Here's Horizon Zero 2. Zero Dawn 2 is a PS5 launch title. Yes, please give it to me. I just talked about earlier that Horizon Zero Dawn is a fantastic game,
right,
and I want the sequel. Uncharted is, I think, needs a hiatus. I don't care about Ape Escape. There's no God of War 2 with Egyptian gods doesn't make sense because we're still in Norse mythology. So it doesn't make sense to pivot, at least right here. Maybe in the future a God of War, but it probably wouldn't be Kratos at that point. It would, and now it's getting a little Assassin's Creedy. So I don't know. Spider-Man 2 with Miles Morales. There's an interesting concept for that, but I'm not there yet. I don't know if I want to play as Ellie's mom. I mean a grounded style, but I have to know what The Last of Us Part 2 is to even want that. And I don't care about Jak and Daxter. So the only 2 options are Horizon Zero Dawn 2 and a PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale reboot, with as much care as Smash Ultimate, because that's what I want.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you saw my tweet, but those are the same 2. It's like we're brothers or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I literally It wasn't a long-ish tweet, but my thought process was the exact same as yours. I mentioned, why the hell would God of War 2 have Egyptian gods? That doesn't make sense. It felt like someone put this together who doesn't know what PlayStation is, who've never played a PlayStation game. Well, that's not true, but like who didn't play God of Wars. My Spider-Man 2 thing was like, well, I'm not done with Peter Parker yet. We just got a good Spider-Man game with Peter Parker, so let's
So
give him a couple runs.
the interesting like way that could work um, is so um, I'm trying without spoiling anything for.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard not to spoil Spider-Man One with we'll talk about this, but let's just say in Spider-Man the first one, what if it starts off like the original Spider-Man fighting a boss, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This isn't my idea, by the way. I'm just repeating it. You fight a boss that is kind of alluded to at the end of Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
In the Spider-Man 1, you start off fighting
That boss.
Kingpin. Kingpin.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You started off fighting Kingpin. At the end, it hinted to a new villain. Um, and what if you start off fighting that new villain, which is an evolution of the villain? Man, this is hard to do. Um, so anyway, so somehow Spider-Man gets a symbiote and turns into
Oh.
Spider-Man. Symbiote Spider-Man,
Oh.
right?
Right.
And then you spend the game upgrading symbiote Spider-Man,
Hmm. Interesting.
and then at some point, like Act 2 or Act 3,
You have to be Miles Morales and you fight.
yeah,
Oh, that's super cool.
like it builds up to the first two acts. Maybe the first act is you just figuring out what the suit is, and you're building on it, and then the second act is like getting a little darker, but maybe all this time you're training Miles as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it comes to a head, and you're over. Spider-Man Peter is overtaken by the symbiote, and then you got to switch over to Miles and actually have to fight Peter
That's
as
cool.
symbiote Spider-Man.
That's cool. I kind of hope that doesn't happen because then I would be ruined. I would knows what's going on. Right.
um,
No, I mean, I guess if you were going spoiler free, I would.
That would be cool.
Yeah. That would be cool. And see, like the Jack and Daxter thing, I don't care, and also don't care that it has the size of GTA 5. It's like I don't understand why that's particularly necessary. And Ape Escape, I don't care about. Uncharted 5, like you said, I don't need to play. Like if they do announce an Uncharted 5, cool, whatever. But I'm not gonna be upset that if they.
I don't think they can announce an Uncharted 5 right now and anybody be excited.
No. So yeah.
Because there hasn't been long enough to stew. I think Naughty Dog needs a new IP.
I agree.
They don't need to go back to Crash either or anything, but they need a new IP, and that would get people excited.
Yeah.
Especially announcing it after a hopefully successful Last of Us Part 2.
So with all that in mind, next week, if you listen to our Ware Gaming News episode that we just put up, that we will be putting it. Yeah, we just put up. We talked about how next Thursday, today's Saturday, so next Thursday, they are announcing new games for the PlayStation 5. Being that this is the bulk of our show now, maybe, what do you think? What do you think we're going to be getting next week? Do you think any of these are a possibility? Do you think none of these are a possibility? What do you think the PlayStation 5 Future of Gaming event is going to reveal in terms of games?
Well, since they were very specific talking about PS5 games, we're going to show you some first-party, third-party games. So we have to see either We're not going to see any. We could see something from Naughty Dog because they have more than one team. Um, and we could and if you remember, it was right after Uncharted 3 came out that they did the teaser trailer for The Last of Us.
Mm.
So no one expected at that time for Naughty Dog. That's why it was such a big deal for Naughty Dog to have a teaser trailer because they just put out Uncharted 3.
Oh yeah.
So with Last of Us 2 coming out in 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, um, it would be just as surprising for them to put out a trailer next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're a possibility, not a lock.
Yeah, I think my only fear with that idea is because I get what you're saying, and I think it's super interesting. Only if this was after The Last of Us, because I feel like they don't want to ruin the mind share of, oh, there's The Last of Us Part 2 coming out. I want to spend money on that. But wait, in just 6 months, I'm going to get some Naughty Dog spy game.
Didn't say it would be a launch game. That'd be awesome. But you're right. I would imagine that kind of announcement coming after The Last of Us came out. But The Last of Us was already supposed to be out
That's true.
twice.
Yeah. But the thing, this event wasn't planned to be made either. So this was planned, knowing that those things happened. So if this was when they were supposed to announce that this fictional game, then I don't know. I see your point though. Now you were gonna say your favorite theory is what?
Is that much like Uncharted is Indiana Jones,
Mm-hmm.
that the next Naughty Dog game would be similar, as in born out of a movie franchise, and them doing a Mission Impossible style
Yeah.
action platformer,
Mm-hmm.
action adventure game would be incredible. I think if they fix their shooting mechanics, but that's neither here nor there. I think if anybody can do it, Naughty Dog can do it.
Yeah, I can already see how that looks too. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
And it just a perfect fit for them.
Yeah. Now I know we've talked in the past. Well, so what I was actually gonna say next is like, I'm pretty sure just because right now the first game that we heard of for sure that was coming to the PS5 was Godfall, the slasher shooter that
Platinum?
Capcom, not Platinum.
Was it Platinum?
I don't remember, honestly. I don't. You can look it up.
Yeah,
but we know that it was the first. We do know that at least at the Game Awards, that was the big first PlayStation 5 game announced. So I'm assuming that we're gonna hear.
It's a Gearbox game.
The Gearbox.
Gearbox, the developers Counterplay, publishers Gearbox. So nowhere near close. But
I definitely thought it was Platinum, but maybe it was like
because it was
people from Platinum.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna see that, which I'm like, I don't know enough about, and it doesn't really seem like my kind of thing. It might be like a Monster Hunter World kind of situation. Is kind of how I got what I gathered from that.
Sure.
Now, are we gonna see Horizon Zero Dawn 2? That sequel, because we know we've been talking about that being maybe a launch title game.
Yeah, that's what I want more than just about anything is Horizon Zero Dawn 2. God of War 2, I don't think it's near ready. Cory Barlog does not look like he's in any kind of hurry. So I can't imagine that's coming out this year. I think it's got at least another year and a half, 2 years in development. Spider-Man, I think is possible, but I think Insomniac has been very quiet on that front, on the Spider-Man front,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been really loud about Resistance.
Yeah.
They like constantly are Resistance and Sunset Overdrive. They're constantly sharing screenshots and stills and images and things from those games. I see a lot more Resistance in Sunset, but I've seen them both. So it would not surprise me at all to see some kind of reboot collection planned for the launch of PS5. Um,
Hmm.
One, it would make
I think
sense.
it would be really cool.
It would also make maybe a cross gen because they could also be working on a Ratchet and Clank for launch.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I think for sure Insomniac has something coming for launch, and they've got to be working on some kind of Resistance project, especially because Sony owns that IP. That's why they haven't worked on anything. That's a Sony owned IP, and now that Insomniac is an internal studio, I think a remaster
And,
at the very least is in order.
and the fact that Gorilla, which was their first person shooter, first party,
Yeah.
that was what they did. We don't have that anymore because they're working on Horizon. So, like that could easily fill that hole of we need a first person shooter, and we think Insomniac could replace that, especially of their pedigree of what they can do.
Hmm.
It would be really interesting too, just as a story moment, because you have a developer that's known for making first person shooters that's now making an open world game, and then another developer that's, it's not known for first person shooters, but now they're
Not
known for action
not their
adventure games and
yeah.
platformers. It's not their shining thing, so it'd be kind of
Yeah,
interesting to see
Resistance
that
was
turn
never
a little
like
bit.
gangbusters. They also did that one with EA, Fuse, I think, or Haze.
Oh,
Um, um,
I remember with the yellow helmet on.
yeah,
I remember
and
the magazine cover.
yeah, that was going to be really cool, but EA kind of like ruined it. So, but again,
So what else
they
is
have
new?
not had a banger yet. And I think they
Yeah,
could come back if they
as a shooter.
yeah, as a shooter. I think I think if they want to really impress us, they'll reboot it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, just resistance.
yeah, just Resistance, PS5 or something. But a remaster would also go far as in gauging interest.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if they. I think it would be cool if they made a remaster, but I think it would be better for them to make a reboot.
Yeah,
Because when the mindset of a consumer is, I want to play a new game. I want to play a new PS5
yeah,
game, and if it's a brand new Resistance that's made for the PS5, that's made for you as a first time player, that to me is cooler than like, oh, I'm playing a game that's a really beautiful recreation, but I'm still playing a game that you played back on the
played old game
PS3
is
or
old.
PS2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think a remaster would not make as big a splash as a reboot. Just bringing it
Hmm.
back.
I would be hyped for it, even though I've never played that game.
Yeah, I've never
Like
played any of the
I think I
Resistance
might I
games.
might I might have fooled around with 3 for a second. I don't know how I would have, um, but I
Um,
would be I would be hyped just because it's cool to see stuff like that.
and like I said, I wouldn't, I also wouldn't be surprised to see Ratchet and Clank. Um,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
I would probably be surprised to see both. There's only so
Yeah,
much
yeah, we can see
bandwidth
both.
one studio can do, and I don't. Insomniac's not small, but um, I figure
But when you have
Spider-Man,
a big game like Spider-Man,
yeah, Spider-Man 2's got to be taking up a lot of bandwidth, and if they're doing another Resistance, there's not going to be a lot of room for both that and a Ratchet. I imagine if they're doing a Ratchet, they could also be doing a remaster of Sunset Overdrive. Um,
for some reason I don't see.
those,
Not to say that that game's bad or whatever, but
um, but yeah,
so do you have any like? So I'm curious because of how I want to take this because if we think about what we so let's zoom out. Let's take our two fingers and instead of pinching and no, instead of doing this, you do that.
do you know what to do with two
Um,
fingers?
no, I don't.
Clearly,
Um, um, I'm just gonna leave that there. So are you drinking the same Diet Coke? Is that the same Diet Coke or Diet Pepsi or Dr Pepper?
No, I was drinking a
Whatever
Diet
that
Coke
Coke is.
earlier, and today
Oh,
I got a Dr
yeah.
Pepper.
No one knows that. Um, so,
Anyway, let's zoom out.
so zooming out, and so we have what? How many first party studios? I don't even know if we can name them all. We got Naughty Dog, Sony Bend, Sony Santa Monica. We have Sucker Punch. Where am I at? 4.
Yeah.
No, let's see.
Yeah, 4.
Naughty Dog, Sony Bend, Sony Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, Insomniac now, Studio London, and Mini Molecule. And we have Sony San Diego.
Yeah.
Still, right? They're still around, right?
Yeah, they do the show.
Right. And what else? Japan.
Yeah. Japan Studio.
Japan Studios. Gorilla. Yeah, that's 10. They have like 6 more. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, is Pixel Opus internal?
Well, that's kind of. Well,
or is that a second party?
I don't know. I'll look it up.
And I gotta say, every time I saw their logo, I thought it was Pixel Plus. Because the O is not like a normal O. It's weird. So I was like, Pixel Plus, what is that?
Pixel Opus is an in-house Sony
Okay.
interactive entertainment developer in San Mateo. First party, Sony first party developers.
What else are we missing?
Big Studios? What? Okay, so we got most of them.
Oh wait, Polyphony.
Polyphony.
Yeah.
What game? What do they do?
The Gran Turismo.
Oh. So it was a Japan studio.
Yeah.
London studio.
Yeah.
There's another company called Forward Works. I've never heard of before. They were just founded in 2016. And Pixel Opus, Polyphony, San Mateo, which I guess is so there's a San Diego studios and a San Mateo studio, which I guess is different than Pixel Opus. So that's most of them. We got them. So, so we know Ben just did.
They did Days Gone.
Ben just did Days Gone
last year, so they're probably out for at least 2 years.
I mean, Gorilla was 2017. I mean, honestly, when I look at this list, I don't really know much.
We
about
could
Japan
see
studio.
a Killzone. Because they do have another team at Gorilla working on something. There's at least 2 teams at Gorilla. I think one of them so they did Shadowfall at the beginning of the generation. And that was a stepping stone for them to do Horizon. It's built on the same engine. And so but not everybody at Guerrilla wanted to do a third-person action game. So another team may have already started a new Killzone. So it's possible we see a Killzone since it's been a generation since we've seen one. But I don't want that to be instead of Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
Right. And we like you said with Santa Monica, they're obviously not rushing, and also the games did come out in 2018, and they were working on that for years. So like you can give them as much time.
I think
Sucker Punch obviously
I think it was a
has their game coming out
6-year development cycle on God of War. Maybe I think because they were working on another project that got canned on their documentary. So there's maybe not a full 6 years, but
So I mean, I'm almost willing to bet money if they show. So the caveat is if they show many first party studios,
They have to.
and if those are if they're AAA games, then we will either see something from Insomniac or Guerrilla, and I'm almost willing to bet it'll be a shooter, first person shooter. Um,
I think.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
we might. So here's my concrete predictions on this front, at least in the first party. It'll either be Insomniac or Guerrilla, and it'll be a first person shooter. And then we might see a couple smaller things from Pixel Opus, even though, I mean, unless, it's got to be like super small because they just finished Concrete Genie, or one of these other studios. I don't really. I mean, if Polyphony did make a Gran Turismo, what 8, 9 for the PS5, because to show off that
Yeah,
show off the tech, that would be pretty likely. Though, even though to be honest, was there even a Gran Turismo for the PS4? I don't remember.
Um, those aren't my kind of games, so I couldn't tell you. I imagine there was one. Didn't they do Gran Turismo
Sport.
6 Sport or something? So probably. Um, so
So yeah, those are my. Uh,
my
oh, that was in 2017. It feels like it was much longer than that.
yeah, I don't follow the racing
Anyway,
games. My predictions are we get Horizon Zero Dawn 2.
okay,
Uh, as a launch title.
okay,
We get an Insomniac game. I'm putting it in the doc so we have
proof.
proof. I don't know. I don't know if it'll what it'll be. I don't think it'll be Spider-Man. So I can lose a half a point if it's Spider-Man. Um,
Okay,
and then um, the, it would be the greatest. Not the greatest, but if they want to dunk on Microsoft after Microsoft's poor first outing for game, next gen gameplay, and only showing third parties, which they said it was only going to be a third party showcase. But if they want to come out strong and be like, we're not playing around here, um, they've got to come heavy with first party titles and third party titles. Like we got to have
mm-hmm.
Horizon 2, we got to have Insomniac, we got. I think you have to have at least another one. If it's not launch, it's launch window. Like Second Son was,
Mm-hmm.
in. Um, I think we see Housemark.
Oh, that wasn't on the list, but that might be a second
They're,
party situation?
they don't own Housemark. Housemark is still independent. So I we see a Housemark game, and bonus points if they announce. Whoa! I hit
Sorry, that was me.
no. I hit another button. Sticky keys. No, I don't want sticky keys. Go away. Why would I
Did you
want?
hit shift too many times?
Yeah. Um,
Come on, rookie mistake.
bonus points if they buy, because I think there's a chance that they buy Housemark. I think there's a good chance because Housemark recently, in the last I don't know 6 months or a year, canceled the battle royale they were working on, and also said that they were working on a big project with a big uh, like publisher or something, but did not say who or what.
Okay.
Um, and kind of went quiet. So I think Housemark is a possibility, and so that'll be my three predictions because I think that sounds.
Oh, you get three. I only gave you one.
Huh?
I said you get 3, I only give you 1. No, that's fine. No, I have 2 more for you.
And then my bonus is Naughty Dog.
Okay.
New IP.
Okay.
And that'll be like worth 5 points or something.
Gotcha. So my predictions would be Guerrilla or Insomniac will announce a first-person shooter, but neither will announce Spider-Man 2 or Horizon 2. So one of them will be there, but I'm just playing it like I feel like it's going to be. So it will be a first-person shooter, but neither will announce Spider-Man 2 or Horizon 2. I have another one that is something to the extent of Ubisoft will partner with them for one of their game, at least one of their game announcements. No, Square Enix. That's what it meant. Square Enix.
I was gonna say Ubi's already on board with Microsoft this launch.
Yeah. Square Enix will partner with them for an announcement of some game. I don't think it's. They're not going to announce something like Final Fantasy 16 or anything like that, but there will be a game that Square Enix partners with Sony to announce.
Okay.
These are very general, I'm sorry. With Sony to announce a game.
I think it's very possible that they announce Final Fantasy 16. But
you think so?
Yeah.
And
what better way to do it? Because they Square said they were not doing their own, and they were not doing a replacement for E3.
So what if they're just not doing it? Because they said they have Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's also Crystal. Anyway, so I also have. This is kind of a bonus one, which is kind of cancels everything else I said out, which is none of these things are going to happen, and it'll be a letdown. None of these things will happen, and
that's
we
not
will
a
be
fun
disappointed.
Prediction. That is not a fun prediction.
It's not a fun prediction. But given the way things have been feeling, and a Splinter Cell game, even though that's not going to happen. No. But I'm going to keep calling that Splinter Cell. Okay, I got my 3 in plus my bonus, which cancels all my other ones out.
No, Sony's done too good. They've gone almost 3 years without announcing a new game. Think about that. Almost 3 years without a new game, a single new game announced, other than like VR or the smaller Concrete Genie. Death Stranding was a unique case, and that might still have been 3 years ago. So we've been talking about the same games for 3 years or more. They've got to come out. They've waited and waited and waited. They're purposely waiting to build hype levels, to build suspense, so they can come out swinging. They came out a bit wrong, but with the E3 thing, or not the E3, the Mark Cerny thing, but that was only because GDC didn't happen. If GDC had happened, no one would have complained. They were like, "Oh, there was this really in-depth talk Mark Cerny talked about," but then we went and played this Unreal demo that just blew us away. You could play a tech demo and move the lighting around. Like that would have been a positive story coming out of GDC, and not a negative one. It was just like an hour and a half of Mark Cerny standing in front of these weird fake people, and it was bizarre. Now I found it really interesting, but I understand. I understood after the PS4 Pro talk that's what Mark Cerny does. Like,
yeah. He lays it out like it is.
Yeah. And I think to bonus your bonus, none of these things will happen, and NAC 3 is announced.
Yeah. Now, what if to bonus the bonus is that all of these things will happen, and we'll be disappointed.
If anything I said happens, we won't be disappointed.
But what if you saw it and you're like, oh, and it was just like fucking terrible?
They,
I know it's impossible, but
they won't fail that hard. Um, they can underwhelm. I think it's possible because in these things we're only talking about games. If they don't show the console, I think at least the box, I
mm-hmm.
think a lot of people will be disappointed. Will I be
I
disappointed?
think you're gonna see a lot of shots of the controller. I think
Yes.
you'll see so many shots of the controller. You're not gonna see the console once, um, and you're not gonna hear a price for sure. You're not gonna hear a price yet.
No. Not with
Um,
the.
I'd love to be wrong on that because I need to start saving if I need if I'm gonna
Well,
get one.
it's going to be probably about $500. So that's kind of what I would be shooting for to put away.
Yeah,
Um, but no,
maybe
I
I'll have enough
agree
tip
with
money for
this
that.
one. They're probably not going to do price, and we we may not see the box. I'd be interested if we see the UI. That'd be kind of neat. If we see
Yeah,
people
that'd be neat. Some of the
playing on
software.
it, um, and at least seeing like the new user interface, that'd be cool. They can't really show this haptic. Did you hear about this haptic feedback where you could feel the rain when you're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the the new haptic feedback and their triggers or whatever. I heard it was Mike Bithell actually who was talking about the DualSense fives are really interesting and um, like you could do all kinds of sorts of neat things with them. So
Oh, nice.
uh,
That's really cool. Okay, here's my next question. Will it? So let's pretend like they're going to show the console. If they're going to show the console, will it be the first thing or the last thing they do? Are they going to start with the game and end with the console, or are they going to start with the console and then just do a bunch of games? That is, if they do it.
you
Console.
know that is a good question because where'd you go? Oh, the first thing Microsoft did was show the box, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it would be interesting to see Sony do it last, just to
Yeah.
180. But
I
I
mean,
don't think they'll go that meta with it. Um,
at the end of the day, like all things being equal,
it's the games that matter.
yeah, and also like so if the box looks a little ugly, which it won't. I mean, it'll make sense. It'll work wherever
As
it
long
is.
as it
But if
doesn't
it
look like that
does,
weird V thing they were using for
yeah,
the dev kits. Um, but
yeah, it's I think I don't think they will show consoles, but I think what would be really interesting if it was like I like the idea of the UI, and if the whole presentation was just selecting different like games on the UI
yeah,
or whatever, like, and that was the because it's going to be all digital anyway. So you have the voiceover, either the disembodied voice or Jim Ryan or Herman Holst
that's just on their videos
it's
tab, and
Herman
they
Holst.
hit the thing, and then they go into the game, and you could see the list of
Yeah,
what the rundown of what they're going to do.
or they're all shaded. Yeah,
Yeah,
or it's all shaded in
yeah,
because you get it
that'd be
for
cool.
real.
But that's just presentation, and I don't think they'll do that. But um, yeah,
What if they have a new? What if they have a new noise for how it starts the beep? What
yeah,
if they have a new like tone? Because the tone is different than the PS3 beep. I think. Um, I'm not
possibly.
gonna try to sound it.
Beep.
It was beep or beep. Beep
um,
beep.
that would be interesting if they actually started the state of play. You know how they start with the noise. If the noise was different and the line was different,
Yeah.
they could just show like the new light beam or whatever, and then
What if
just the tone is changed.
what if the line like instead of the light coming? I'm pointing over here because this is where my PlayStation is.
Yeah, mine's over
But what
there.
if this is the light underneath it? What if it was a V-shaped light that came out on the top? There's just a V-shaped light, it was still a square box. I
Yeah.
think that would be kind of cool.
I don't know.
But I also don't really need them to like hammer in the fact that this is the fifth console. Like we get it. We don't need Roman numerals, but it would be kind of cool.
um, yeah, I think I I think they'll hold off the box and the price, and I'd say they probably show those together whenever they do decide to announce.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think
Now,
Sony made
do
it
you think there's
clear
any?
earlier on that they were waiting on Microsoft to kind of set the price.
Mm,
Um, in one of their investor calls or whatever, they were waiting on the competition. In so many words, they're waiting on Microsoft to set the price, whether they were going to take a hit or not, basically.
right. Now, do you think there's any credence to? I've been seeing some things, but I haven't really seen any hard evidence. I've not read any articles, but been seeing some like things on Twitter and on Facebook about people saying that there's a lot of problems with the PS5 hardware, and that it's not being like is overheating too quickly, and games aren't running right on it right now, and that's why we're not seeing hardware stuff right now. Is because I saw something where like they're worried that the PlayStation internally is worried that the machine is not going to run well when they announce it. So that's why they haven't shown the console yet, because maybe they have to make some design adjustments for some of their technical stuff. That seems a little too conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Like, why? I think Occam's razor. It's probably much simpler than it is. Either they just don't want to show it yet, or it's something else.
I think they probably would have already shown it if we weren't in the crazy world at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they would have set their plans in motion because they dropped out at E3, and they're going to be the first people to show something in June.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting because they were saying they weren't going to do anything during this week, and actually they are.
Yeah, it's not quite E3 week, but
it's like 2 days away.
No, they're usually.
I remember because I had that week scheduled off. It was the 6th through the 10th or something like that.
Huh.
And I had that week scheduled off. Of course, now I don't. But
so you'd already scheduled off?
I had scheduled for those weeks off.
Oh, okay.
That week off, but I ended up picking my shifts back up for the most part. But I just so happened to leave the 4th off, which was good.
Yeah, I don't have the 4th off currently.
That sucks. I guess I'm gonna have to do this by myself. No. I will watch it before you though, but I won't spoil it for you.
Oh, you might watch it before me. You might not.
Well, I guess I'll actually be here at the time that it starts, if that makes any sense. The actual time that it starts, not the fake time that it starts over there on Eastern time.
Yeah.
But
I'm excited. We'll see what they have to say. We'll probably do it right after.
Right after.
Yeah, we'll do our reactions right after the event, and then we'll plan on doing the Ware Gaming News for the next day or whatever.
Yeah. So, but great. We learned a lot about our games, and we have a lot of fun predictions. And next week, there will be no questions. We will have our answers.
There will be questions, but.
Oh, well, for sure. There will be more questions, but we'll have some answers. And none of them will be. Anyway, I can't think anything clever at the moment. So, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Of course, you can follow me at Speak Nicklish. You can follow Josh
at Jaws1015.
I don't know.
And you can follow Ware Gaming at WareGaming _ on Twitter.
Yeah. If you do follow me, know that it is mandatory that you participate in my Nicktoons game that I talked about at the top of the show. Even though Josh doesn't, and I try to guilt him into it, do it too.
Yeah, I tried once, and I was just like, Instagram is stupid.
No, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, until June 4th, say bye, Josh.
Bye, Josh.